I know that these 50-50 relationship conversations might sound redundant. I know talking about moving in with men as women might sound redundant, but we need to talk about the reality of things. This Reddit thread, the post was deleted, but someone saved me a screenshot and sent it to me. So this one is in the subreddit called Poverty Finance. And she titled it 50-50 in a Relationship Sucks. She says, recently graduated college and moved in with my boyfriend who graduated a year and a half before me. I took my first post college job making $20 an hour. My boyfriend was previously making $20 an hour, but recently got a salary job making 65K a year. The wage gap makes sense given where we are with our careers. He works remotely, so we decided to get a second bedroom so he can have his own office space. It's very convenient for him, but our rent is expensive. We had a hard time solidifying a fair financial contribution method. We thought about having one joint account for bills, which would both contribute proportionately to what we're making. This made a lot of sense to me, but my boyfriend wasn't a big fan of it because he'd be losing out on credit card points. He proposed splitting the bills 50-50 to simplify it, but being the one who pays when we go out, I accept it, which in hindsight wasn't very smart. We also don't go out very much, partly because of me. I can't seem to justify excessive spending even when I'm not the one paying. I find myself as broke as when I was making $4 less per hour and with similar rent. I used to only buy what I needed. My boyfriend likes to buy in bulk and save money and isn't afraid to splurge on food. Our grocery bill is very high. I sometimes suggest that maybe we shouldn't buy something if we don't immediately need it. His response is that we should buy a lot of something if we'll end up using it. Then I have to split the bill. My boyfriend loves to talk about how he is doing financially, how he's saving, contributing to his HSA, how many credit card points he has. Meanwhile, I'm living paycheck to paycheck to support our lifestyle. I have no idea how to fix this on my end. I wouldn't even know how much more to ask him to contribute. Don't recommend 50-50 relationships. Her edit at the bottom, thank you everyone who responded. It really helped being told outright how the situation is. I owe him rent, so I'll come up with a plan that I think is fair and bring it up to him. This man he's living the life. He's able to support his lifestyle because he has this woman who lives with him now, who moved in with him. And I'm sure that just even reading that, you can see how he is winning and she's losing. Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss because when you read it out loud, when you guys heard me say these words, I'm sure that you could hear how unequal this is not proportionally fair. And how is he's doing all this spending and she's giving, but she has nothing on the back end and he's able to save. Hopefully this girl understood from the comment section how she was getting played and will do something about that. But for the people that are hearing this and who might share it with somebody, just don't do this. Get an actual roommate, and make it make sense. Make sure the living arrangement makes sense. Make sure that you're not living above your means. Make sure you're buying things that you need. If you have a roommate and this roommate is actually fair, then that makes sense. 50-50 clearly isn't working. Please talk to him about a fairer arrangement. The only reason you have that second bedroom is for him. Maybe you can figure out the extra cost of that bedroom and he can pay that. Resentment over money is like a terminal illness to a relationship, so fix it now before it progresses. She says, I think asking him to pay for the second bedroom is a good place to start. So this next person says, that doesn't sound fair at all, especially since he solely uses the second bedroom for the office. Also, what about the chores? Is that 50-50 also? She says, it's hard to say. He sometimes get off work early and does some chores before I come home. I get off early on Fridays and deep clean our places. I do more of the deep cleaning though. So that's another thing that we have got to talk about when we talk about 50-50. It's always about money, but is it ever really about the equity in a relationship? Is it really ever fair? This next person says, you need to sit down with him today and talk about your finances. Your living situation changed when he got a major pay bump. If he wants 50-50, it has to be within your means, not his. Otherwise, he needs to change it to a more 70-30 split. If he's not willing to reevaluate the financial situation, then you need to walk away. You cannot live paycheck to paycheck while your partner, who supposedly loves you, is saving for himself and splurging on a lifestyle only he can afford. And he can afford this because he has her. So he's basically sucking her dry. And if this is like this while they're dating, imagine the financial situation when they get older. He'll be able to use finances to control the relationship. She won't ever really be able to retire. This is just a terrible situation. And it's terrible to even think about for long term. This person says, yeah, don't do it unless married, proportionate to income. And if he has an issue with it, that shows his character. This doesn't sound like a relationship that's even sustainable. She can't even really be thinking about marriage right now if she's sitting up here worrying about buying a big thing of toilet paper is going to impact her and her ability to get to the next paycheck. The next person says, I don't think proportionate to income is fair either. That is essentially the same thing that they're doing now in a way. She's paying for his elevated spending due to higher income. If you make him pay proportionately, then he'll end up paying for things he never used, needed, which is literally what she is doing. 50-50 on a shared equal cost and itemized spending on the rest. Yeah, this is definitely unromantic. But this person says, there's nothing romantic or unromantic about it. It's 2023. Inflation is real. Money is not what it used to be. That's how I look at it. It's just being optimal as a couple while building a personal, stable financial foundation for yourself at an earlier age. I'm having this conversation because I want us to really think about these things before we rush into these relationships. Sometimes we think that shacking up with a man is going to alleviate things because we would have had to pay for rent anyway. We would have had to pay for bills anyway. But if you're living on your own, you're paying for what you need, you're paying for what's within your budget. If you're paying with somebody like this, you're giving extra and you're supplementing their income, and it's not fair. So it would be best to just have a roommate and have the finances worked out, be able to live within your means, and just do it that way, because this is unfair. Because even when you have a roommate, it should, like, the chores should be split. When you're in a situation like this, the woman is typically the one doing the majority of the chores. And when you're in a roommate situation, you're buying what you need. You're buying your own food. You're buying your own toiletries and that kind of thing. It's not the same when you are living and you're shacking up like this. But you guys go ahead, jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. And yes, like I said, I'm going to still have these conversations because they need to be had. So join the conversation with me, like, comment, share.